Good morning, everyone. It's Lori Staley, Addicted Stamper with Stampin' Up, and it is Thursday morning, so it is time for coffee and cards. If you are on, give me a shout out, a like or a love. While you're hopping on, I'm going to go share this in my VIP group. There we go. All right, so I'll give you a beat or two to get on. Hopefully everybody has their favorite morning beverage with them. I have my iced coffee. I have been drinking iced coffee every morning for probably 5-6 years. Good morning, Carol. And I didn't even used to like coffee. And I used to work about 40 minutes from here. And so I went past a McDonald's. So every morning I'd stop and get a nice coffee. And then I got hooked on it. And then when I stopped working down there, I decided to figure out how to make my own. And I found a copycat recipe, which I've adapted a little bit. But that is my morning beverage of choice. So hopefully you have a beverage. You're ready to sit back, avoid adulting this morning, and we're going to do some crafting. Hi, Donna. Hi, Carol. How's everybody doing? It is cold and rainy here. Hey, Karen. I don't understand. I didn't think it was supposed to be that way, but I guess it's April showers bring May flowers, right? My hyacinths are surviving. I don't understand why, but they are. So they look very nice by the front porch. Of course, they'll probably be dead by Easter, so you know. Whatever, right? Okay. Yeah, my fingers are actually cold this morning. Hey, Thelma. So get some stamping going on here and warm up my hands, right? All right, let's talk a little bit first, as we always do. Let's talk about these cards, although I didn't see her hop on yet. These were the cards that we did Sunday night with our fun folds, right? I love this fold, and I love this card. This paper, right? Just with this paper alone. I haven't tried it with other papers. I'm going to have to do that. And then this one's a lot of fun, too. This has the explosion inside of it, and we opted to rumble, I think was Trisha's word, on Sunday night, and switched out or flipped over the designer series paper from the Simply Elegant suite on the card we made Sunday night. And then we also did that two-tone embossing with the gold and silver embossing powder. So they were both fun. I love making both of these. I know the weatherman's never right. I know. And I feel bad for Rick because he's an outdoors guy. Oh my Lord. And so he got to go out. I think it was Saturday. He was out for several hours, but then he kept saying to me, I think I'm going to he said, I almost took Monday afternoon off. And then he was like, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I'll just go in. And then it didn't. And so, so now it's raining. It's been raining for the last 2 days. So these were a lot of fun. The winner of these is Jerry. Jerry, I don't know if I saw you come on yet, but Jerry Wilcox is the winner. So congratulations. I am building a package back here for you. Hopefully that will be finished today. Hi, Betty. So I will put these in, but if you do come on or you do see this or somebody talks to Jerry, I just need to know if she wants the original or the card we made during the live designer series paper pattern. Facebook just notified me I'm live. How about that? How long have I been live? A little while yet, right? Oh my goodness. Okay. What else is happening? Last chance. Holy cow. I printed off last night the items that are already sold out. So many stamps are already gone, guys. I mean, there's still a lot left, but there's a lot of stamps gone. Hey, Shirley. So if you have things on that wish list that are retiring, you want to order them sooner rather than later if you can, because I'm telling you, it's flying off the shelves. And Stampin' Up is not, and they didn't do it the last time either. They're not guaranteeing the stamps up to a certain date. So when they sell out of a particular stamp, they are not making more. I think part of the reason is the supply chain, getting the materials to make the stamps, right? They want to keep those for the new stamps that are coming in to help to try to ensure that we have stock and inventory when we want it. But also just from a space standpoint, right? I mean, they're wanting to switch over to manufacturing the new products. Did you guys know that all of our stamps are made in Utah? So all of our stamps are made in the US, if you didn't know that. I actually, many years ago, they had what they called Founder Circle, which was the top 100 demonstrators in the company. And I was blessed to earn that honor several years running, and we used to get a special trip out to Utah, and we got to go to Kanab and Riverton and see the facilities and the manufacturing, and I even got to help make some rubber stamps when I was out there, so that was pretty fun. But anyway, last chance going quickly, and of course it is April 7th, so we only have what is that, 26 days left, so less than 4 weeks we'll be into the new catalog. And speaking of the new catalog, I have one in my hot little hands. Can't show you the inside of it, and I didn't bring it with me here to show you the cover. But if you decide to join me on Sunday night at 8, which is normally our Come Stamp Along with me, I'm going to do an unboxing with new product. So you're going to want to stop by for that. I'll show you all the new in colors. We'll talk about In Color Club for this catalog coming up, which is a great way to get your supplies, your in colors, kind of budget your expenses out over 5 months, right? And you get everything in the in colors. So we'll talk about that Sunday night, but make sure you hop back on for that. Okay, that's at 8 o'clock. It's our normal Come Stamp Along with me. So I won't be stamping, but I will be showing you new product. Okay. All right. And then these lovely cards, at least I think they're lovely, are the Just cards for April. And you can earn those with a minimum $35 product order on my website, addictedstamper.stampinup.net. There is our April hostess code. And you want to apply that, and that tells me that you would like the card kits. If you are local, there will be an in-person class the second Wednesday of May. I did know that date. I think it might be the 11th, May 11th. So you are always welcome to join us there. And if you're long distance, we do mail them. We do all the embossing, die cutting, put the little embellishments in a bag for you, tie the bows, the whole 9 yards. We just ask for help with postage to get them out to you, right? And I say we because it takes an army, right? I have helpers. My husband is one, huge one, and then I have a girlfriend that helps me as well. So that's why I use the word we. It's not that we're royal or anything. But even if you don't earn the kits and you want to attend the in-person class, that is absolutely fine. It's $15 for the class. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Hello, Ashley. Who did I miss? Hi, Shirley. Okay, I think hey, there's Connie. I think I've got everyone acknowledged. Good to see everyone this morning. I'm taking a sip of that coffee. I feel like I need a little extra adrenaline this morning. All right, so we are going to play with On the Horizon. Specifically, I'm playing with the designer series paper. I don't know about you. I loved it. The minute I saw this suite, I loved all the products. I loved the paper. I loved the stamp set. I love those little river rocks. They're so cute. Even the ribbon, although I've used the ribbon on a lot of other projects. And of course, it goes very well with a couple of other stamps that we're offering right now. But that paper, as beautiful as it is, it was a little intimidating. For me anyway, and I'm weird, I know, but it was just a little bit intimidating for me. So it took me a little bit to get my feet under me and figure out what I wanted to do with some of it. And I finally did that. So that's what we're going to be sharing with you today. This is found on page 42 and 43 in the mini catalog. So if you haven't picked this up yet and seen it or looked at it, I'm going to show you some of it today. Maybe you'll fall in love with it. I did right away. Hi, Jen. But like I said, it was a little intimidating. So let me show you the designer series paper. It is beautiful. There's no question. Lots of colors. Misty Moonlight. Hey guys, don't forget. And I think the Misty Moonlight cardstock is still available. But if you're going to stamp with On the Horizon, because this will be around till June, through June, or while supplies last, you're going to want some Misty Moonlight cardstock. Guess who's out of Misty Moonlight cardstock? This girl. And I haven't decided if I'm going to buy another pack or not. But anyway, this is the designer series paper. Check that out. I mean, that to me, I think it's supposed to replicate or look like mountains, represent mountains, but to me, it almost looks like cabins, right? Could be my eyes. Another pretty one. And then that is great. And that literally, I just had an idea in my head. So you'll probably see that paper somewhere down the road. It's on a project. Peach Parfait, Evening Evergreen, Old Olive, Misty Moonlight, Blackberry Bliss. All the colors. Love, love, love this one. Look at this. Is that not a gorgeous sunset? Oh, good, Carol. Thank you. There we are. We're simpatico. Love that sunset effect. And then we have that, which is also so, so pretty. I like that there's some that are not like landscape, right? That there's just some nice colors that you can use as backgrounds on your cards. Another beautiful one. Oh, that one's got some, well, I guess it's Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent, maybe. I don't know. This reminds me of a lake, right? With the trees in the background, the beautiful sky. And then there's Fresh Freesia, which you know I love that one. This one's really cool too. A meadow. If I put it in the right orientation, it might look a little better to you. A meadow with a lake in the background, the sky, the tree backgrounds there. Even here we have some flowers. Oh. And there's that one. That's got some pretty colors on it too. So similar colors throughout, right? There's that Peach Parfait, Evergreen, Misty Moonlight again. That one's pretty. Again, the Blackberry Bliss with the Misty Moonlight and just the lighter tones. Oh, Blackberry Bliss. And then I like this one too. And there's your Misty Moonlight. Again, Starry. Oh my goodness, listen to me. Starry Sky, maybe? I'm not sure. And then Misty Moonlight. That one's really cool. That one's really cool. We're going to do something with that one down the road too. I have it already planned out for that one. So that's the On the Horizon paper. There's 12 different patterns. Of course, they're all double-sided. The pack is 48 sheets. So you get 40 or 4 sheets of each of these designs. Ah, okay. That's cool. So let me start with, here is, just so you can see this too, right? Here's On the Horizon stamp set. The bundle is $50.25. And this has some great, like, I love this wooden plaque type image, and then grasses, and of course those crazy birds that we can't decide which way to stamp them, right? Sometimes we stamp them upside down. Then we call them ducks, just so you know, because they look like ducks when they're upside down. This cute little tree line, and then some great greetings in there. And then I haven't put this on a magnetic sheet yet, and I really need to because it's all over the place. You got some mountains with some mountain detail. I haven't played with those yet. Some landscape images, your fencing, grasses, trees, little cabins, and then to cut out that plaque or that wooden piece. So lots of great dies. And lots of great stamps. So I am using the dies and the stamps on our first card. I'm also going to be using a little bit of Oceanfront. These two coordinate beautifully together with that designer series paper. This is a standalone stamp. There are no coordinating dies or punches. It is $22. This is also found in the mini catalog. Now let me show you the card we're going to create. How pretty is that? And I stole the bike from, what did I steal that from? Flowering Tulips, the one with the windmill. Flowering Tulips, it has the bike. But I love that sky. Here's our stamped trees. We're using some fencing. We've got some of those cute little river rocks on there. Hopefully I put those in here, but guess what? I don't think I did, so I'm gonna have to grab them. But if I didn't forget something at every live, you'd be shocked, right? I don't know why it's so hard for me. If I did it when I design, but usually I'm designing ahead, right? So I have done a lot of the die cutting in advance for us to save some time. There's our cabins. We are using pale papaya as our card base. Okay. And we're going to use some garden green. Now, garden green is not necessarily one of the colors that they indicate is in that package, right, of papers. But I think it worked pretty well. So that's what I decided to go with. I wanted something to pop a little bit. And don't forget, guys, and I say this, especially when I'm using the specialty papers, but if this hurts your heart to put that full sheet of cardstock underneath there that no one's going to see, then die cut, punch, do something, right? Get something out of the center of it, because nobody's going to see that you die cut something or you punch something out of it. I really try to do it when I'm using the specialty papers. The cardstock, I'm like, it's cardstock. But yeah, I mean, save yourself a little bit of money, right? Why not? Now is the time to figure those things out. All right, so I did cut this down to the size that I wanted. Let's put it in the right orientation, Lori. There we go. How about that? Nothing wrong with me. And we're going to stamp those cute little trees. Oops. This is what happens when you design 3 projects and you put things away, so you have them to work on the next card. It's a little bit nuts. So I'm going to grab those river rocks. And we're going to do that marker to stamp technique for our trees. Let's see the river rocks. Here's the river rocks. Aren't they cool? 3 different colors, like a smoky, gray granite or basic gray, and then your cinnamon cider. So again, you can see that if you're stamping out of the mini catalog the whole way through to the end, you're probably going to want some of those in color papers. The cinnamon cider, the misty moonlight, right? All of those things. So I'm going to put my trees on my block. And then I am using cinnamon cider for the trunk. The Stampin' Write markers are gone. So if you didn't get those when they were available, you're definitely gonna be sorry. Probably, right? So I'm using old olive, cinnamon cider, and evening evergreen to do our trees. So let's get the evening evergreen out. All right. And I'm going to use the old olive on the base. Okay. And the cinnamon cider. I always work lightest color to darkest color. So I'm just putting the cinnamon cider on the trunks of the trees. Thanks, Ashley. And then evening evergreen. I always use the brush tip, because the thin, what I call the writing point on the Stampin' Write markers isn't going to give you anything to really color with. I want to get that off, because knowing my luck, I'll catch that edge, right? And I do my DBB, just breathe on the stamp, and we are going to stamp that right about here. Cool. And then we're just going to repeat it for the other side. So we start with the old olive on the base, because in my head that's lighter than the cinnamon cider. I don't know if it really is, but I think it is. This is such a fun way and an easy way to get multiple colors on your stamps. Ah, yeah, Carol. Yes, you will love it. But I would say, if you can, I would go ahead and add that oceanfront stamp with it because they go so beautifully together. All right. Okay, my phone is literally beeping and I don't know why. So hold on a second. It's definitely plugged in. Am I back? I'm back. Okay. Oh, but I'm crooked. Darn it. All right, we're going to try this. Close your eyes. It always does that. Close your eyes. I'm going to do something here. See if that works. See my messy studio. Haha, it worked. All right. I don't know what that was. Okay. Oh, shoot. Do I dare risk it? Let's see. We're going to hope. Okay. There we go. So that's really cool. I love putting the trees on there. You can stamp right on this. This is what was a little bit intimidating to me, right? I'm going to trim down this little edge of my cabins. Move it up a little. Am I good? I look good on my screen. I'm a mess, I can tell you that. I got stuff going everywhere. Just want to trim that down just a little bit. And then that's going to fit right in between our trees. And I did put that on with dimensionals. So let me grab some of those. You guys go through your dimensionals like craziness? Because I do. I really do. We're going to use minis for this, I think. Oops. There my piece came out of my... I use this so hard. This is like... I don't know if I could stamp anymore without my take your pick tool. Well, I could stamp, but could I actually put a card together? That's the question, right? Okay. Oh, I was working. I almost did it on camera for you just because it was so daggone funny. I was working with our seam binding, our white seam binding ribbon before we went live today. And well, let's just say there's apparently some static electricity happening in my house. I could not get that stuff to go into the container I was trying to put them in to save my life. I mean, they were sticking to my hands, static electricity, right? It's crazy. Okay, so we have that. We're gonna stamp some of the grasses that are on the oceanfront stamp set. Because I didn't want something this long behind it, but this one was perfect. So we're going to use that stamp out of oceanfront. We're going to use the old olive. And I'm just going to do them down here in the corner. Because I really just want them peeking out through the fencing. Yeah, me too. Me too, Betty. I'm always reordering dimensionals. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. And then while I was smart enough to put adhesive sheet on the back of the bicycle, I was not that smart to put adhesive sheet on the back of our fencing. So we are going to make sure that when you're playing with your fencing, one end has the pointed tops and the other has the straight. So you want the pointed tops or the pointed ends at the top. So we're just going to add a little Tombow. And then this is just going to line up with the edge of our card. And the same thing on this side. Anybody stamped anything this week? Cute is this? Just looks like the pathway is leading right into the cabins. And then again, with the adhesive sheet, all you have to do really is bend one section just a little bit to get it started. And this one, the pieces did pretty much fall out of it. But when you pull off your adhesive sheet, if you have, like if I had something left between the spokes, pulling the paper, it backing off of the adhesive sheet would probably go ahead and lift those out of there for you. But this is very fragile. It's very thin. So I want to be really careful with it that I don't tear it as I'm trying to get it settled down here. All right, so there is our scenery. Birthday and get well, good. No stamping, oh no. It wasn't the best week for me. No, I know, Connie, I'm so sorry. Easter cards, good, 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 good. I like to see that you're stamping. You played with the wave stamp, yay. Didn't make anything yet? Oh, you will, trust me. It's hard to resist that stamp. And that is still going on, guys. The rhinestones and the blue foils for the Waves of the Ocean promotion are gone. But the designer series paper at last check, which was yesterday, and of course the stamps and the dies are carrying over into the new annual catalog. 6 sympathy cards. Oy, that's a lot. All right, and then on the inside, you can make this any kind of cards you want. I am doing a thanks for everything card. That greeting is in the On the Horizon stamp set. Okay. I haven't made a card in the horizontal position for a while. I don't know why. And I'm going to put some grass in the corner. And the last thing we're going to do after we put this on the inside is add a few river rocks under down here at the bottom of the fencing. You used them all. Oh man, I know. I hear that. I do. So I went with the darker gray on this because the cinnamon cider I thought might just disappear into the fence. So we're just going to pick these up and bring them over here. I like that they're different shapes too. That makes them fun. And you can position them however you want. I just kind of almost like they were on the pathway. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. I couldn't zoom in this morning, so I'm not sure why, but there we go. That is project number 1. So I did not put a greeting on the front. I just left the scenery stand for itself. And then we have that on the inside. Okay. All right. Project number 1. Yeah, I seem to need a lot of thinking of you, get well soon, those types of cards right now. So fortunately the sympathy has slowed down here, but oh, I got a heart. Thank you guys. Now I'm not going too far because I used a lot of the same stamps, but this one I decided to mix up completely. So I brought in a completely different stamp set. And I brought in some Evening Evergreen because, again, I don't have any Misty Moonlight. But we're going to use Sailing Home. Sailing Home, it's a fabulous masculine set. Unfortunately, I think the stamp set is gone. The dies, maybe not. I did not see them on the list. The Happy Birthday that I'm using came out of the Paradise Palms. Okay, that's also in the mini catalog. That's replacing Timeless Tropical, which I really like Timeless Tropical too. So, but let's work on this one now. And of course, I used some rectangle stitched dies. I used a different pattern of the Designer Series paper. This one, again, I love, and it just reminds me of a lakeside. And we're going to go ahead and pull out those. Did I use that? I must have. Okay. So this is our base. Let's get that creased and ready to roll. And I've got a scrap here to stamp our lighthouse on. So we'll get ready to do all of our die cutting. I'm using Night of Navy. It pairs very nicely with the Misty Moonlight. Again, I turn my paper sideways. It's easier for me to hold the larger block like this than this way. So if that works for you and whatever condition your hands are, by all means, make it work for you, right? Gives us a nice, great image. And then I did go ahead and pre-cut my grasses, right? So I have those ready to roll. We're going to, I'm saving all the die cutting for the end, can you tell? We're going to go ahead and stamp our birds on there. So the trick for me in getting these stamped in the correct orientation is the birds on the ends, the wings should be facing up. Okay. We're just going to put that right there. I do like that it's a larger grouping of birds. We have like I think three different stamp sets right now that have the birds in them. So that's kind of fun. And then I'm going to do the trick with the punch that I showed you last week, right? So we're going to get my orientation right here. We're going to flip this around here and we're going to punch the end. I want to make sure the paper is even in there. And then I am going to stamp that with some Blackberry Bliss, the Happy Birthday. Crooked, of course. Let's try it on this side. Is the stamp crooked or am I crooked? That would be me. I would be the crooked one this morning. A little better. We'll go with that one. And then we're going to put this back in to the punch. And whoops, don't let that end get away from you. And we're just going to line it up again. Now this time I'm lining up my teeth in what I've already punched and punch. So you can create any size with your punches that you would like. Isn't that cool? It increases the versatility of your punch. And this, okay, this is the side I'm putting the tape on. And get you more bang for your punch. This one's going to be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. We'll just have the Misty Moonlight on the ends, which is fine. I know, isn't that cool, Carol? I love that. And then that's going to go right there. All right, let's grab our die cutting and our die. These dies are awesome. And even if you don't have the stamped image, the stamps, and you know, if you didn't get the stamps, you've got rope and like a rope strip. You've got a chips wheel. You've got a great piece of seaweed. You've got 2 labels. And then the other 3 are just the ones that are for the dies. You could do an anchor. You can make a compass with the hands there. So, you know, if you fall in love with those images and you're not as worried about the stamped images, then this is still a great die set. And I'm going to line that up, take it over to my machine, and run that through. And this is one that you could absolutely use, excuse me, use the mini machine for. Unfortunately, mine's over at my other station at the moment. Grab my Post-it note tape. And there it is. I'm like, and my other plate. Which is right there. It was just hiding from me. I just ordered new cutting pads for my machine because with as much as I do, my pads are starting to warp. Isn't that a great die cut there? Okay. Then we're going to do the stitched rectangle. I'm going to slide this die where it belongs before it vanishes. That was the postage punch. Yep. Yes, it was. That has to be one of my favorite punches. It really does. It's very versatile in and of itself. I love it for layering. So here, if you haven't seen how many dies you get with the stitched rectangles, take a look. Mine are a bit messy. They've been fairly active in my studio the last couple of weeks. But we're going to use, I think it's this one, the second largest. Let me just double check myself. Yep. But this is almost a full card front, as you can see. So you've got everything from a full card front the whole way down. Some very skinny rectangles that you could use for your greetings, even a short, wide one. How many dies are in here, Lori? That's a really good question. There are 13 dies in there. Ah, there you go. I had someone the other day, I had someone say something to me and they said about it's the size of a postage stamp. And in my head, I went to our punch and they were saying how small that was, right? And I went to our punch and I'm like, well, that's not all that small. And then I went, oh, wait. No, it is the postage stamp that we have, or the postage punch that we have is a bit bigger than a regular postage stamp. So I had to adjust the size in my head. But it's funny because you do, after a while, you start relating everything to your Stampin' Up! Products, like my colors, my living room. Oh my goodness. My living room is actually painted a color that we used to have. And I just took the cardstock into the paint shop and said, this is what I want. Now, remember, when you run something like this through, always put it at an angle, right? Never straight, because you can see it will warp over time. And you don't want that. So always through at an angle. And then you have this piece that you can create something with. So it's a twofer, right? You get your frame that you really were going after, and you get an insert piece that you can use on another project. All right, let's put those away. Move this out of the way. I'm going to add a little seal. You could do this with Tombow if you preferred. And mount this on the inside. I don't know, that back is really pretty too. I hate to cover that up, but we really do want the front of this. There we go. And we're going to put this on our soft succulent. Make sure you have the opening at the top. I know you've put your cards together upside down at least once. And I say I know because I've probably done it more than once. I'm going to grab a couple of dimensionals here. I put the dimensionals behind the body. I didn't put it down here at the base. I wanted that to be flat. So I'm going to put the dimensionals at the head of the lighthouse and then just a couple down the body. Okay. And I'm going to put some seal across the bottom edge. Yes, they're nice. And there is a lot of variety in the sizes in those stitch rectangles. Absolutely, Ashley. All right. We're going to put that right about there. Have my grasses here, which I'm just going to trim down that long leading or ending edge. And I'm going to offset the evergreen on top of the soft succulent just a little bit. So just going to add a little bit of Tombow. And offset just a smidge. Is that an actual measurement, a smidge? I have recipes from grandmothers and great grandmothers. A smidge, a pinch. I'm like, really? What is a smidge and a pinch? Somebody please tell me. The other thing I'm going to do is just trim this end off here so it's not sticking out beyond the grass. And then this is going to go on with some Tombow as well. Although I have seen, my mother was catalog queen. I have seen little measure. Oh, thank you, Shirley. A pinch is 1/8 of an inch. That's good to know. Are they still in the catalog? What are they, Donna? That's what I was just going to say, Carol. They're measuring spoons, and there are measuring like a little measuring cup, tiny little cup out there that is a pinch and a smidge. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to put that right there. Kind of like it actually, with just the blue on the edges. Okay. Maybe bring it down a little bit. There we go. So I want that mountain to show behind it. And now that I look at it on the original card, I put that on with dimensionals too. Okay. Here we go. We have our inside piece. And I'm going to use a greeting out of the On the Horizon again. Wishing you so much happiness me put my blue cap back on. This, oh yeah, yep, the stitched rectangles are still in the catalog. Yes, ma'am, they're in the annual catalog. Since they are a standalone set, you'll find them back where all the dies are listed. This is a great masculine card, guys. You could turn it into any kind of thinking of you, birthday, thank you, whatever you needed, right? Okay, there we go. That is project number 2. What do you think of that one? See some hearts. All right, let's go on to our third one. Trying to figure out where I put something. Okay. And this is another one. So truthfully, all of these could be masculine cards, right? But I had to use that skyline. I thought that was so pretty. Here's another die cut. And then the trees that you see here are actually from Mountain Air. Okay, so this is the stamp set. You've got your detail and your layers. So you can color in your mountains with your layer and then stamp your detail over top. Same way with the pine trees. And this to me looks like the beginning of a lake. And the stamped images, you've got a cloud here that you can do that with, as well as a moon. Teeny tiny little birds and a teeny tiny little cloud. It's a really cool set. It's a great masculine set. At the time that it was bundled, it was $50.25. Remember, that's a 10% discount on the base prices. And then there are your dies. So you can cut out your stamped trees, your stamped mountains. This little crazy die goes over the top of your tree line. And there's your cloud. And then you have the 2 standalone pines, which is what I used on our card today. I just cut 3 of them out. So this is Mountain Air, and the dies are called Majestic Mountain dies because they are separate, I believe, in this catalog, this annual catalog. And my happy birthday on there came from Artistically Inked. Okay, right there's our happy birthday. I like the greetings in that set, especially that birthday greeting, because it's just kind of nice and bold and simple, right? There's not a lot of flourishing or anything going on. All right, so I did lots of pre-cutting for us on this one. Back to my garden green, even though it is not a color that I believe is listed on the back, I thought it worked, especially when you put the layer of Calypso Coral behind it, right? Which is picking up those deeper oranges in the sky. That is so pretty too. And when you go to cut your horizon paper down, you know, look at the whole scene and what is there something specific that you want to make sure is on your card, and then cut from whatever side accordingly to ensure that you get that piece. Now, I'm not going to mount that one there yet. We're going to do a little bit of work. So one of these boxes has the birds. The birds, I need the birds back. You just add a little something, right, to your skyline. Again, remember to look your wings on the ends of the birds. The 2 birds on the ends are kind of going up in the air. That's what you want. Okay. There, then I do have the trees. Did die cut those. And again, I didn't use adhesive sheets. Oh, thank you, Ashley. Thanks, Jen. So we're just going to use some Tombow right down the trunk of the tree, and there at the top we have a little bit more space. Now we're not going to use the whole tree. We are going to trim that down. Same thing on this one. Drop that one the lowest, in the middle, and our last one. And then, and I should have done this before I even mounted it to the Calypso coral, but I didn't. So I'm going to start. Whoa, that one wasn't dry yet. It's all right. I'm going to start by just trimming it even with Calypso coral, and then I can come back in here and snip even with the designer series paper. Yep. Like the Christmas trees out in the field. They leave all that way, right? These cute little trees are a die cut from On the Horizon, and I'm going to trim that end off as well. While I have the Tombow, I might as well use it. It's a little bit easier on something like this with those skinny little trunks that I don't want to tear. And this will give me sliding capability. I didn't quite want that much sliding capability. There we go. Okay. Now I can mount that to our card front. It would, absolutely. You could absolutely leave them even with the Calypso coral. Hey, Sharon. You could do that for sure. Oh boy. I think we'll make it, but I'm running out. You know, I'm going to run. Well, no, we're not stamping Sunday night. We're doing unboxing. But as we say, you know, I'm going to run out the next time we're live. Let's grab our happy birthday. And I used Evening Evergreen to stamp that. You know what I have to do. There's no way I'm going to see that on white. It's just not going to happen. There we go. I sound surprised when I stamp something like that. There we go. Oh, shoot. And Calypso coral to do our matting with, right? Holes in the background. A couple of dimensionals on that. And we're going to put that right here. All of these scenes, I make stamping fun. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. And then I have the Relax and Enjoy Your Day that we're going to stamp on the inside. And I did that in the Evening Evergreen as well. And then you invariably are going to have leftover strips, right, of your designer series paper. And you know I like to use those up rather than hold on to them and then throw them away at the end of the catalog time period. So why not use it as an accent? Because this is so pretty, that particular pattern on that paper. That was the bottom edge trimmed off of what we used on the front. And there is project number 3. So there you go, guys. Couple of new ideas to use the On the Horizon paper. Again, on the horizon, oceanfront, sailing home, which the stamps are retired, but I think the dies are still available. Mountain air. You can pull in a lot of our stamp sets with On the Horizon to create some really amazing cards. Thank you so much for watching this morning. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. And please remember to leave a comment, like or love the video, and share it on your page. That would be great and helps me out a lot to help my continued growth. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to come back Sunday night for an unboxing of brand new product out of the upcoming annual catalog that will go live on May 3rd. And don't forget to put your orders in. April host code, Stampin' Up, addictedstamper.stampinup.net is the website, and you will qualify with a minimum $35 purchase for the Just Cards this month. So glad you liked them, guys. Have a great rest of your week, and hopefully I will see you Sunday night. Take care. Bye.